Be a math guy, you know?
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him.
Go fuck yourself.
The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
The team, go sports!
All right, can you just explain what's going on here?
Thank you, I have no idea. Holy crap!
It was the spirit of Gonzo that led me down that slide to entertain the people. Are you not entertained by me doing my own stunts? It just went a little sideways as far as the last run down the slide, but I'm doing good, a little sore, but ready for some baseball.
Holy crap!
Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. And hopefully you are progressing in your fantasy playoffs, and that's why you're hanging out with us tonight. If not, just know a lot of the stuff we'll talk about does translate to DFS, so you can still be making money. You can still be winning this weekend, even if you're knocked out of your season-long league. And yes, I am talking directly to you, Luke. Chipper up, cheer up.
Yeah.
It's Fantasy Football Week 16.
That clip of the Dodgers reporter going down Bernie slide does it. It's so good.
Funny. It's so good. What's up, Hassan? Hassan?
We before we get started, big anniversary today.
What's that?
The 8-year anniversary of the Odell Josh Norman game.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know if I like that or not.
I know.
That seems like way too long ago.
Right. It was an all-time game.
I mean, yeah. Just a few weeks ago, or maybe last week or something, it was some big anniversary of the Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan fight.
Yeah.
And that was like 15 years or something like that. That was
That's crazy.
Insane. Must have been 10 years. I don't know. I'm guessing Hassan in the chat, Trevor, or is it just one of your, okay. Maybe it's a Stoof burner account. Who knows? That could be an interesting twist.
Trevor will be on OnlyFans soon with Amaranth.
He will be. But that is for the NFL offseason. We still have weeks of football to get through, including week 16, which, the curveballs keep on coming.
Yes,
more players ruled out. What was that?
Ask your question, Hassan.
Yeah. You, anyone in the chat, fire away at absolutely any point. As the season rolls along here, it's going to be less about rankings and more about just shooting the shit, I feel like, as we transition into the off season. So ask anything and everything, and we will do our best. But we are going to go over the fantasy football rankings for tonight as well for week 16. These are on flurrysports.org. They are on, interesting question, they are on Fantasy Pros as well. Have PPR scoring because that's what Fantasy Pros grades us on. So, Trevor, I guess you can answer. Who do you think is going to win the 2020 Super Bowl?
Packers.
Interesting choice. Hindsight 2020, and we're still making interesting choices. I feel like we got time traveler in the chat. 2024. Okay. I can't tell if the first one was weird or not. Who's going to win 2024? Gotta be the who would it be?
Cincinnati Bengals.
Chargers.
Ravens.
What's up, Yeet?
What up,
Got
Yeet?
questions? Fire them away as we go over the top 5 quarterbacks here. So number 1, I do have Jalen Hurts in a bounce back spot against the Giants. We shall see. Monday Night Football. or not Monday night, Monday afternoon, Christmas Day football, I suppose, this week. I have Josh Allen at number 2 Saturday night at the Chargers. I mean, obvious. Justin Fields, I have at 3 versus the Cardinals. Dak Prescott 4 at the Dolphins. And then I'm going Lamar Jackson 5 at the 49ers. That's a Christmas night game. That's obviously the featured game of the week. Luke, what do you think of those 5 quarterbacks?
Well, you heard my you heard my reaction to Jalen Hurts being one, right? Like Jalen Hurts has obviously not been like the Jalen Hurts of last year, I guess you should say. But I think like his rushing alone gives him at least respectable fantasy days. Maybe not the number 130 to 40 points per game. Like if there's any week for Jalen Hurts, and I guess the Eagles as a whole to bounce back, it's probably this week against the Giants, right? So Zach, I don't know if you consider it a gamble or anything, but I like the I guess semi gamble here.
In a way. Trevor?
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading all these questions in the chat coming in already. I mean, the top 2 are pretty self-explanatory. I'm interested to see what the Chargers do. It's always interesting when a coach gets fired, how the team bounces back. I'm not saying they're going to be anything great, but I'm interested to see what they throw at Josh Allen, because I don't know what they can with the way the Bills have looked recently. So,
yeah. And Thea Hassan, you think the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl this year? You're going to be sadly disappointed, but that's fine. What's up? So Yeet faces McCaffrey, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, and Rashad White. It's a question as much as a statement of surrender, maybe. Yeah. Best of luck to you. Unfortunately, AJ Brown, I think, probably bounces back.
Yep.
Which is kind of why I have Jalen Hurts at number 1. We talked about it on the Packers show last week, how the Giants like to run a lot of man under Wink Martindale. Didn't think the Packers could beat man coverage. Pretty confident AJ Brown could beat man coverage. So, if he just gets a little bit of separation, it's going to be off to the races for him. So I think him, I think Devontae Smith has a chance to have a good game. It should be a slaughter fest all around, but we shall see. Junior JR needs to start 3 half PPR. Ken Walker, Mostert, Bijan Robinson, Ty Chandler, and 8-chain. Let's just assume Madison is out, because obviously if Madison plays, you're sitting Chandler. But do you guys have any initial strong thoughts out of that bunch?
I'm starting Mostert for sure.
Right. I'm just bringing up.
I don't hate Ty Chandler against not a great Lions rush defense, and it kind of feels like you have to start. I know it sucks, but it still feels like you have to start Bijan, right?
Kind of depends on what you need, probably. If you think you need a big performance, then maybe you start him. If you just need steady, if you just need 6, 7, 8, 9 points, and you're going to win your matchup, maybe you can sit him. I think Mostert's an obvious start. I think if Madison's out, I think Chandler's an obvious start. Where do I have Ken Walker even ranked? I have him ranked 20th, 1 spot ahead of 8-chain. So I guess he would be the next one. Oh, well, I have Bijan a little bit ahead of them. But, do you guys have any trust in Ken Walker right now?
No, none. Like we said before, he's coming off an injury, and he has maybe the hardest, 5 weeks ago when we said it had the hardest fantasy schedule for a running back moving forward. That's rang true. I like Ken Walker. He was a guy that, I kind of talked up to start the year. But, what has he shown you that you can go in there and start him with confidence? I don't necessarily know much, unless, like you said, Zach, you need maybe 5-6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. There's no reason to believe in Ken Walker consistently, at least. Pulling his stats up right here, he had that long touchdown against the Eagles, but outside of that, I don't think he really did much yet. 19 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown, and a lot of that came from that one run. The weeks before, he had 8 carries, 4 carries, 19, 9, 8. I don't know if you can even trust him to get carries. And if we're talking about not trusting him to get carries, then I don't know why he's in your lineup over some of those other guys.
I think you can trust him to get carries. I think that's the only thing you can trust about him. So, like, I think I'm going, assuming again Madison is out, I'm going to go Mostert. I'm going to go Chandler. And then, like, if you need that safe play, I think Walker's safer than Bijan. But, like, all things considered, I'm probably going Bijan, especially with Heineke in there. I think the Falcons' offense is pretty clearly better with him versus Desmond Ridder. So in a vacuum, I'm going Bijan. But if you need a safe play, don't need the super high ceiling, then I'm going to go Ken Walker. Yeet was playing that death squad. Whoops. Here we go. I need all ceiling players to beat that squad. 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex. He's got Adams, Ayuk, Amari Cooper, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, Chuba Hubbard, and he has Brian Robinson. I assume we are sitting Brian Robinson for sure.
Yep.
So 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Ceiling, you can't take out Devontae. He's obviously in.
Correct.
I'm probably going to go Ayuk. Number 2 receiver versus the Ravens. I think it could be an okay spot for him. And then running backs is interesting because ceiling, like we know Aaron Jones' ceiling, but like what's the likelihood he reaches that ceiling? I think I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. I think Lions play who?
Vikings in Minnesota.
Man, Vikings run defense is decent. Man, gut call for me, and you guys can fully disagree. I think I'm going Chuba, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. Fully gut call.
Yeah. What do you make of the Lions' backfield?
I mean, I think they're really struggling to get a push up front right now, and I think that they are starting to just utilize Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit more. And then once the playoffs come around, I think they're going to switch back to a little bit heavier David Montgomery. They definitely want both of them healthy, and Montgomery's been the one limping through the entire season. So I think they really want to make sure he's healthy come playoff time.
Yeah. I think this is I think this is a game where Detroit can get up, and you know, we said how many times we said it. They use Montgomery when they're up and Gibbs when they're kind of chasing points. So Zach, I'm going to go up. I'm going to go Adams, Ayuk, David Montgomery, Chuba Hubbard, Aaron Jones.
Okay.
As much as I don't trust Walker, currently I'd trust him more than Montgomery, just because the Lions' backfield has been weird lately. Even goal line touches, at least from what I've seen, it feels weird. And if you're going ceiling, I'd probably go Kenneth Walker too.
We dismissed Amari Cooper super quickly, so I just want to touch on him. Obviously a good game against Chicago last week, 109 and a touchdown. He does play in Houston this week. So, you know, it's on turf. It's indoors. It's against a defense that isn't that good. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes off, I guess. So maybe he has a higher ceiling than Kenneth Walker. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. It just feels a little more risky, right?
For sure. Zero doubt about that.
Yeah. That's my issue with it.
For sure. I think, yeah. I mean, okay. I think he doesn't have as high of a ceiling as Ken Walker or Aaron Jones. I think he has a chance to reach his ceiling more than the other players.
That makes sense.
Still a risky play.
Looking back at who he's playing, CMC, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, Rashad Wright, I actually, thinking about it again, I might go Amari Cooper just because you're going to be chasing points no matter what. I don't think you win with one of your guys hitting a floor.
No. And I mean, yeah, we'll see what I like him more if CJ Stroud plays, by the way, just because I think the Texans will be able to do a little bit more than if they have Case Keenum. If it's a Case Keenum game, then it's probably going to be a pretty low scoring game between the Browns and the Texans, which is boring and not great for fantasy. Browner, I need a wide receiver and a flex. He's got Amari Cooper, Kenneth Walker. Interesting how many people progressing in their league with Kenneth Walker and stuff. Chandler, Calvin Ridley, Devin Singletary, Nico Collins, Noah Brown, Chris Godwin, and T. Higgins on waivers. I'm going Higgins for sure.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to go Chandler if Madison's out.
Yep, that's exactly how I am.
I'd agree.
Yeah, if Madison plays, then I guess I would switch to the number one. No, probably not.
What?
Who did the Jaguars play this week? The Jags play the Bucks. I might go Calvin Ridley. It kind of depends on Trevor Lawrence, I suppose, too. But Beathard's not that bad.
No, I mean he's been a starter in the NFL before.
Yeah.
What you guys have any strong opinions on like Nico Collins and the Texans kind of offense moving forward in those last 2 weeks of fantasy here?
I mean, if it's Case Keenum, like I just don't really trust it that much. If everyone is out again, the same as this past week, like the Texans have shown that they're willing to force the ball to Noah Brown. Every time he's really gone off this year, they've been shorthanded. So if they're shorthanded again, I guess it doesn't matter the quarterback. He's going to be fine. So I like him if Nico Collins is out. And I think there's a decent chance. I think I said or wrote or wherever the hell it was a couple of weeks ago, it did seem like a couple of week injury with that calf strain. So I think there is a chance he is actually out.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
Yeah. And then Chris Godwin, like I'm just not, there's going to be people chasing last week's performance. I like him. I love him as a player. He's not going to do that again.
Certainly not.
Like he had linebackers on him all week, and most defenses won't do that.
I mean, he's done it once this year.
Right. There's a lot of players who've done things one time, and the common denominator is the Packers defense. So Lambeau is where dreams come true for a lot of people, including opponents this year. Let's go back to quarterbacks. Who is a notable person to talk about? I mean, I think you're just playing the normal people this week. I think Kyler Murray has a decent week against Chicago. Chicago's been pretty good, but I think Kyler can certainly pass against them. Jake Browning's a stud. I know he plays Pittsburgh, but he's kind of becoming one of the safer options available still. So no Jamar Chase, no problem in my mind. Do you guys disagree with that?
I do not disagree with that.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence still in concussion protocol today, I should say. CJ Stroud, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure. Still in concussion protocol. And they're saying he's expected to be out, which kind of tells me he's not making any progress in like progressing through that concussion protocol, which is weird.
Yep.
But okay, I guess. Will Levis, not that most people have been relying on him, maybe a 2-quarterback league possibly. Didn't practice today. I think it's probably going to be Ryan Tannehill. And, I think you improve Chig Okonkwo. I think you downgrade DeAndre Hopkins, and we'll see what else. Another question here. We got one from Nick. What do I do with these wide receivers? CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, Rashee Rice, and Jalen Waddle. Can only take 2 or 3. Well, I think if Keenan Allen's healthy, you play him. There's a chance he takes himself out of the equation for you, though. Assuming everyone's healthy, I mean, CD and Keenan are must starts.
Yeah.
And you're probably going Jalen Waddle.
Are you?
I think so.
I am.
I might go Rashee Rice here.
I mean, I don't hate either. Yeah. I think they're both probably similar plays. They're probably ranked similarly for me. I can look.
What did Waddle have last week?
Over 100 and a touchdown.
I mean,
he had 142 and a touchdown.
Okay. I'm taking that with a little grain of salt just because of the 6-yard touchdown, but I mean, it's the Dolphins' offense. Sure. I get playing Waddle. Rashee Rice
too.
Yeah. Rashee Rice is just stealing Travis Kelce points right now, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. For whatever it's worth, I have Waddle ranked 18th, and I have that's weird. Okay, I have Rice ahead of him. I might switch it. I have Rice really high. I might switch that. It is the Raiders, but
Mahomes destroys the Raiders.
Most people do. Let's be honest. Not Easton Stick.
Yeah, right.
That's one person I can confidently say does not.
Who had it on their bingo card for the Raiders to have the second highest scoring week this year?
It's people aren't giving them enough credit.
Right.
Because earlier this year, we're like, can you believe the Dolphins scored 70? That's the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
And they did that with a first-round quarterback, Tyreek, Waddle, all of that against the defense not trying. And then Aiden O'Connell comes out. It's just fucks around. Like, we got to give them more credit. We're like, well, it was a fluke. Chargers suck. Like, right. No, let's credit them a little bit.
They were a touchdown short of 70.
Yeah, they could have got it.
Yeah.
No Josh Jacobs either.
Right.
Devontae only gets 100 because he stayed in the game until he got 100 and then he left.
Mm-hmm.
Does Easton Stick need to retire already? If you get your ass beat that bad in your 5th year in the league? Like, I know he didn't have a ton going for him, but like, come on, man.
He's not that bad. I promise you. It kind of broke my heart because you can just see it on his face. He's like, what the fuck am I like? Okay, Jalen Guyton, run a route. Let's see if you can come up with one route to run. Like, nothing was working. He had no offensive line. It was just a disaster.
I'm still on the boat that I know he got cut today, but I'm still on the boat that Max Duggan should have started that game.
I mean, I can confidently say he's not good.
It'd have been fun.
He's sure. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have been fun. There would have been at least 2 more pick sixes in that game. There's already plenty. What a bad game. It's just a fever dream. Any other quarterbacks you want to talk about?
So you have Lamar at 5. Where do you have Brock Purdy?
7.
Okay.
I think the Niners will want to keep the Ravens off the field. They'll run it as much as they can. Yep. We'll see if they're in position to do so. But if they, in their ideal world, I think they're going to run it a decent amount.
Yep.
Okay, compared to the consensus, I'm 3 higher on Nick Mullins at 13. I'm pretty confident in him this week, actually. I have Flacco at 14. That's 4 higher. I'm 3 higher on Jake Browning at 16. And that's that. I'm 3 lower on Russell Wilson at 17. I am 6 lower on Jordan Love at 19. And I'm currently 6 lower on Geno Smith at 21. Maybe I'll update that if he gets ruled the starter. We'll see. Seahawks situation is a little weird. Anyway. That could have really fucked me last week. I started Geno in 2 matchups. I won them both. That could have, it could have, because I was doing the podcast. The last thing I saw before the podcast was like, Geno Smith active. I'm like, good. Let's go, baby. Put him in. And could have been bad.
Like I said, we got robbed of Mariota, Drew Lock. I'll never forgive the Eagles for that.
I still think of Mariota a little bit as Oregon Mariota.
Yep.
And I never want to see him play football again because every time he takes a snap, that memory goes away a little bit more.
That's fair.
Man, he was so good in college.
So good. Like one of the best, like maybe the best ever.
Possibly, yeah. And then Tennessee happened, and he had some moments like, thank God for Delaney Walker. Then the Raiders happened. The Eagles happened.
Tennessee happened. They put him under center, and they fucked up his career.
True. That is true. Running backs, a little bit of a change up on top, but not the very top. Christian McCaffrey's still the number 1 until proven otherwise, really. I have Kyren Williams, number 2, tomorrow versus the Saints. Saints have really struggled against the run. I have James Cook at number 3 at the Chargers. I have Raheem Mostert, 4 versus the Cowboys, and Rachaad White, 5 versus the Jags. Trevor, what do you think of those 5 running backs?
James Cook has had one of the weirder fantasy years.
Right.
I think rushing yards wise, I think he's right up about to get 1,000. I think he's up in like the top 5, if I'm not mistaken, too. Who would have thought you give him the ball? He does well. And I would assume, and I think a lot of people would assume with me, that Buffalo gets out to a pretty sizable lead relatively early against this team, especially without Herbert. and I think they just run the ball. I think Murray actually gets a decent amount of points, but I think James Cook probably still easily runs for 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I like it. It's what's kind of crazy is, and of course this has to do with like injuries and just how weird the fantasy season this was. But everyone's talking about like Travis Kelsey is far and away the best tight end, like it's the best value you can get for a number one guy. That's now Christian McCaffrey, which is crazy because feels like it's his third year he's done it. And once again, I'll go on my Christian McCaffrey soapbox. He's the best player in fantasy. I don't know why I doubted him to start the year. That will never happen again. But Trevor, I do like what you said about James Cook. It kind of sucked right away in that game if you were a James Cook owner because Latavius Murray got that first touchdown, which it feels like he's kind of been snaking touchdowns all year, which rightfully so given the sheer size of these running backs. But James Cook to put in that great of a performance against that good of a defense in Dallas, it's hard to think that he is now out of the playbook, like out of the game plan. So I'm with you, Trevor. I think against a much worse defense, I think you probably see a first half of. You might even see a first half of 100 total yards and a touchdown. So I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Brady made it pretty evident, like prior to that game, that like, oh, James Cook's really good. We need to get him the ball. We need a running game to actually balance this Bills offense, which is the thing everyone's been saying. Yep. Ken Dorsey just refused to do it. So and the biggest thing for me, like obviously James Cook was going to be involved. We were really bullish on him to start the year, and he was decent all year, given where he was drafted by most people. He was still outperforming projections, I would say.
Yep.
What's the big thing for me last week was not just that they used James Cook, not just that he had a good performance, but that the Bills were complacent in a good way. Usually that's not used in a good way, but they were fine just running the ball and not racking up passing yards.
Yep.
Like Josh Allen, terrible fantasy day because they just kept running the ball and it kept working and it was good. Like, great. If they're willing to do that, it shows they're truly just looking to get a win, which is great. And that should mean awesome things for James Cook against the Chargers defense that will be energized. They'll be riding that coach fired high a little bit, but at the end of the day, they're just not very good.
No.
Like it should be that Bills interior three is very good. So like, even if you say Khalil Mack's good, which he is, he's having a great year. Like, I think he's going to be a non-factor for a lot of it, especially for James Cook. Other running backs, I do have Jahmyr Gibbs above David Montgomery for what we talked about before, and because the Vikings run defense is actually pretty good. Like, they're just not going to be able to pound the rock just straight up man on man against them, I don't think. I have Gibbs at 7. I have Montgomery at 22. I'll probably move him up a little bit just because if he falls in the end zone, he probably ranks higher than that. Derrick Henry, I have him at 9, and I don't know. Like, it turns out it's kind of hard to run the ball when you get hit 4 yards in the backfield.
Fair.
Every play. Like, that last week was bad. It was an embarrassment. And I don't, what the Titans should do this week and what gives them the best chance to win, and this isn't even a joke, they should play Wildcat. Just run the ball with Derrick Henry, but if you have an extra blocker in there, then it helps a little bit.
Yep.
Just do that.
Do anything to help Derrick Henry.
Yeah, short yard situations, they definitely should do that. They've done it a little bit around the goal line this year. They should do that a lot more often this week. And I'm a Ryan Tannehill supporter to a point. I'm not saying he's good, but he's not bad. I do currently have Ty Chandler at 24. We talked about him a little bit. I have him ranked above Austin Eckler for whatever that is worth. Fuck that guy.
Agreed.
I have Gus Edwards at 31. I want to move him higher. Keaton Mitchell out for the year. So Justice Hill, I think, is an okay flex streamer if you are desperate. Good DFS play, I'm sure. I haven't looked at pricing yet. But playing the 49ers, don't love that matchup. Definitely easier to pass on the 49ers than run on the 49ers. I think the Ravens are still probably the best running team in the league, though.
Yep.
So, I mean, he'll get his. I just don't think it's going to be a massive day for Gus Edwards.
Yeah, I think against, like you just said, there are 49ers having a good run defense. I think they will. Like once the Ravens get down to the 10-yard line, the 7-yard line, I think Gus Edwards is the back this week, right? Like he has to be.
For the most part, it depends on how effective the Niners are on the interior because, like, you know, if they're getting pushed, if they're winning at the point of attack over and over, then they'll just use Justice Hill in the red zone just so there's you know, they have to make a choice. It could be a run or a pass. If Gus Edwards is in there, it's probably a run.
Right.
So that's the only difference. I don't know who the Ravens' third running back is. Let me look that up right away or right quick just because.
Is it Melvin Gordon now?
I mean, he was there. I'm not sure if he's still technically there.
Mike Davis was there for a minute. Remember him?
I do. It is still technically Melvin. So, I mean, DFS play. Watch out for him. He still has some juice. So he could do something.
Devontae Freeman.
Maybe. I mean, God, there's choices. They've had quite a few. We could play a game about like who has been a backup running back for the Ravens the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some awesome ones.
Throw Le'Veon Bell in there.
Le'Veon, Todd Gurley was there for a hot sec.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. How did I completely forget Todd Gurley was there?
Because you didn't do anything. Okay. I have Justice Hill at 46 for whatever that is worth. I think Pacheco comes back this week. If he gets ruled active, I mean, he's a must start, I think.
Yep.
That's about it, I think. Any other players you want to specifically talk about? No? Cool. Okay, so comparing to the consensus, I am 6 higher on Chuba Hubbard at 16. He's going to be good this week. I'm currently higher on Zamir White. We don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to play, but I should say if he's out, I think Zamir White, for every reason I said last week, is a good play once again.
Yep.
I guess technically I'm higher on AJ Dillon at 51, but don't play him. I think Jonathan Taylor could come back this week. It sounds like that's what's trending in that direction, right? Zach Moss should be active. I think Jonathan Taylor should be active. So I know a lot of people were rushing to pick up Trey Sermon and people like that. And that's going to be a wasted pickup. I am 5 lower on Alvin Kamara at 8. I am 3 lower on Bijan Robinson at 12. And I am 4 lower on Antonio Gibson at 40 and 12 lower on Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 58 because he is the third running back now. Obviously, he will drop below Jerick McKinnon.
Good to see him in the end zone.
Yeah, good to see both of those Chiefs running backs doing, you know, what we thought they would do, essentially. Mm-hmm. Any of those names stick out to you, though?
There was one there. Who did you say before, Clyde?
Antonio Gibson.
Any strong thoughts on him? Like the Jets, for as good as their defense has been, their run defense hasn't been great this year.
It sounds like Robinson's trending in the direction to play.
Okay.
So that's that. If Antonio Gibson's the lead back, then he'll go up.
Okay.
And that there's questions obviously around Washington. Apparently they were just protecting Sam Howell last week.
Where was that all year?
I don't know. So that's why they took him out. And then they stormed back because they made good plays. They started throwing to Terry McLaurin and stuff. I don't know. So he's the quarterback again this week, I should say.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Wide receivers. Once it loads, I have CeeDee Lamb at 1 at the Dolphins. I think they can attack the Dolphins in the slot. I have Justin Jefferson at 2 versus the Lions. I have Amon-Ra at 3 at the Vikings. I have Tyreek Hill at 4. I think he's going to come back, have a really good game. Mm-hmm. I think him missing a game was truly just so he could say, I got 2,000 yards in 16 games like everybody else. Like, I think that was the reason, honestly. And then I have A.J. Brown at 5 versus the Giants. Talked about him a little bit before. Man coverage, I think he's going to beat man coverage. Quite a few big plays. Take the over on longest reception for A.J. Brown this week. Luke, what do you think of those 5 wide receivers?
Ego aside, if he actually was hurt and like he couldn't play or whatever, if playing this week, you know that McDaniel is getting him 4 touches on the opening drive, so that might cash in a wide receiver 1 performance right there. So I'm with it.
Mm-hmm. Trevor?
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that. I'd agree to that. I was looking for stats on him that were interesting. I found nothing.
There's always people who are very hesitant to play players coming off of injury. There will be people who say, I don't know, is Tyreek Hill going to get the full workload? Is Tyreek Hill going to play this week coming off of injury? There's going to be people who take the other side because they just want to be cute and they're dumb. He came back into that last game after he got hurt. He played well. Mm-hmm. He truly didn't have to sit out last week. Like, the fact that he came back and played just shows that. He went through warm-ups. He said the decision was his if he wanted to play or not. If anyone's watched his warm-up video, he was making cuts and looked good. Like, he's a full participant. He's going to be good. I have zero doubts in Tyreek Hill.
Is Tyreek Hill a top 5 player in football?
Yeah.
I think
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know how you can argue it.
Right.
He's still. I mean, this is the thing with Tyreek Hill too. He's not maximizing his potential. Mm-hmm. And what I mean, like, if he wanted to, throughout his entire, like, he could be a Hall of Fame punt returner if he wanted to. And he's so good on offense that they just don't do it. Mm-hmm. Like, he's been put at punt returner like just a handful of times, and he brings them back. He could be insane. He's the best offensive weapon in football. It's not Christian McCaffrey. 100% he's great. Agree. But yeah, he's different, man.
Yep.
It's insane player.
It's only because he's fast, though, right?
I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, there's a very big part of it. I'm not gonna lie. If Tyreek Hill ran a 4.5, he'd be worse. He'd be a lot worse.
I don't know about that. That seems like a bold take.
It is a bold take. Cancel me for it. I have T. Higgins at 14. No Jamar Chase. Again, Jake Browning. I have confidence in him. I have pretty full confidence. He's great. Yep. He's a good player.
That touchdown last week was awesome.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the Bengals got lucky to have him.
Yep.
Like, they could have been really in trouble. And they're going to see some trade offers this offseason for him. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Because I don't think, well, maybe he's a free agent. I'm not sure.
I think he is. Didn't they decline his option or something? Or not give him a 5th year?
I mean, he wouldn't have been able to have a 5th year because he wasn't a first rounder.
Yeah.
So maybe he is a free agent now. Just looking through the relevant players, I guess. Chris Olave should play tomorrow night, and I think you start him. He plays the Rams. I'm not overly concerned. He's been playing pretty well. So, I mean, he's that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 for you, I think, this week.
Yep.
Michael Pittman, they're kind of talking like he might play. We'll see. I don't know. That was a vicious hit. He plays the Falcons. Falcons have been pretty good against number 1 wide receivers from my memory. Secondary is pretty good. So I don't have a ton of confidence in him. I have him at 31, and I don't foresee myself raising him if he gets ruled officially active.
It's the one that if you need to play him, it feels real. Like, I'm not saying you need to play him, but if you're in a spot where you have him on your team and you're still alive in fantasy, it feels really risky to start him over a guy who may be fully healthy with a better matchup,
For sure. And I mean, there's a chance. Well, this is the thing. He's in such a shitty position game script wise. Like, the Colts, what they would love to do is run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, assuming he's back. So right away, that kind of takes away from Pittman. If the Falcons, so the only way he gets to Pittman plays well is if they're behind. And that would mean that the Falcons are doing what they want to do, which is run the ball as well. So if the Falcons are running the ball well and the game script's pro Pittman, then the Falcons are running the ball, milking the clock, limiting possessions that way. So really the upside kind of isn't there. He would need a big play. Could he have big play? Absolutely. I'm just going to guess that he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not betting on it.
Randy, 49ers defense or Colts defense? I have the Niners at 12 and the Colts at 7. Obviously, Niners play the Ravens. Colts play the Falcons. I'll go Colts.
Yep.
Interesting discussion amongst defenses, though. Definitely check out those rankings on FlurrySports.org, or if you're on YouTube, they are in the description as well. Other receivers, Christian Watson, I think is a full question mark still this week. I mean, you're not playing him if he's active, I don't think. I only say that to say Jaden Reed may be that number one guy again. He hasn't practiced yet this week, but if he's active, he could be a decent wide receiver 3 for you.
Yep.
Terry McLaurin, don't chase that.
Nope. I agree.
He's bad. Like he's not a number one receiver. Sam Howell doesn't throw it to him, so Sam Howell's back, and now he plays the Jets. Have fun.
It's another guy who's done it once this year.
Yeah, that was pretty confident that was his first 100-yard game. Yep, it was. So, and his first touchdown since week 8. Don't chase it. Randy, Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas, Randy.
You.
Merry Christmas, Randy.
Bum.
My Christmas
Quentin
gift to you
Johnson.
is that my mic isn't muted.
Nice. That's actually rare. Trevor must like you. Cedric Tillman, for whatever it's worth. I'm talking more so DFS right now. Joe Flacco likes him.
Yeah,
he's been targeting him. So I'm going to guess I'm higher on him than the consensus. We'll check in a second. I'm at 58, but certainly touchdown upside, certainly big play upside. 8 targets last week, 18 targets over the past 3 weeks. He's going to be a cheap option that is pretty good.
Yep.
Tomorrow night, a lot of people are going to be chasing Demarcus Robinson's points the last few weeks, and he's been playing exceptionally well. The issue is Tutu Atwell is going to be back now, so now he has to split that work, and I'm less optimistic. He could still have a decent game, but I just bring it up to say I wouldn't expect typical Demarcus Robinson production, which is an interesting sentence to say. Another DFS play I actually kind of like this week is Jamal Agnew for whatever it's worth. Zay Jones is out, and I love Jamal Agnew.
He's a very good football player.
Very good. Very, very good. He is the best wide receiver 4 in the NFL.
Yep.
If you want to consider him that, and he's a good returner. Like, I love him. He's so good.
He's got to stop being number 39.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, he only has big plays.
Yep.
He's not going to have like a catch for 3 yards. Okay. Consensus wise, I'm 3 higher on Cooper Kupp at 6. I'm 3 higher on T. Higgins at 14. I'm 3 higher on Garrett Wilson at 16. I'm 10 higher on Chris Olave at 22. I'm 19 higher on Jaden Reed at 30, I guess. What's up with Marquise Brown? Is he hurt?
He was.
Is he not playing this week?
At one point he wasn't, and then like seconds before the game they said, "Oh yeah, you're not playing."
Heel remains uncertain. Okay.
I don't want to
keep
start
that
him.
in mind. Yeah, I suppose it's true.
If you can pivot off of Marquise Brown.
That's fair. This is interesting. I didn't expect this actually. I'm 3 lower on AJ Brown.
Ooh.
So I had him at 5. Consensus has him at 2. So I guess everyone's sort of thinking the same thing as we are. I just sort of hedged my bets, kind of, I guess. I don't know. He just hasn't been very good. I like him more at 5, but
yeah.
whatever.
Is that consistent with Devontae Smith?
I'm 3 lower on Devontae Smith as well.
Okay.
So consensus has Brown at 2 and Smith at 18.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I am 3 lower on Jalen Waddle at 18. I am 3 lower on Zay Flowers at 29. I'm 4 lower on Tyler Lockett at 32. I'm 14 lower on Terry McLaurin at 44. And I'm not wrong about that. If you had me rank how confident I am about every single player, I'm the most confident about that rank, I think. I'm 5 lower on George Pickens at 46. What do we think?
Like the George Pickens season is over. It probably was over like 5 weeks ago. I just didn't admit it, but now I'm admitting it.
Free George Pickens. Get him off that team.
Or get Jaden Daniels to Pittsburgh.
Sure. True. George Pickens will block on a team that he feels deserves him to block.
Yep.
Okay? That's where I stand on the matter.
Get George Pickens on Atlanta, man.
Okay, they need a quarterback though. Like, is he playing quarterback? I'm fine with that. That's cool. God, that Atlanta team could be. They have freaks on that offense, and I'm talking receiver. I'm talking running back. I'm talking offensive line. They cannot go into next year with Desmond Ridder.
God, no.
That will piss me off.
Yep.
Like, I'm an Arthur Smith supporter.
Yep, me too.
And I will fully blame him if that is the case, because that means he vouched for Desmond Ridder, and that's not okay.
No, I think it's fuck Arthur Smith. I don't think we can be saying that.
I mean, come on. Everyone who's so upset with Arthur Smith, I'm choosing my words wisely. I'm not grouping you into this, okay? But I will say this. People who are upset about Arthur Smith don't know football. Everyone who's upset about Arthur Smith is solely because of their fantasy team. It has to be.
Correct.
Like, there's no way. Like, people complain in wins. Like, Kyle Pitts should have got the ball more. No, he fucking shouldn't have. Like, he wasn't open. What do you want him to do?
Have we seen Kyle Pitts try to catch a jump ball? No, he should not.
Like, I understand they need to use Bijan Robinson more, but I also am telling you there's a reason he hasn't. He's not stupid. And he like, there's no way. Like, something's up. Something's up. I don't think I care about any of the other receivers.
Ask away.
Yeah. Yeah, JP, ask whatever you want. Randy asked best Christmas gifts you guys got and worst Christmas gifts we got. I don't know about worst. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I remember when I got a PS3 when that was like brand new, and that was fucking awesome.
Last console, you didn't have to pay for internet.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Kirby, got any good Christmas gifts?
Not recently. Like, not that they're bad or anything, but like, I'm one of the people, if I want it, I buy it. So usually people tell me, hey, don't buy this shit. And I'm like, oh, I wonder why. And then I open it.
That's fair.
So no great ones and no bad ones.
What about you, Luke?
I'm kind of on the same boat as Trevor. I don't know how many times I ask for huge extravagant things or anything like that. It's kind of just, stuff that will enhance my daily life. You know what I did get? We do a Christmas Secret Santa on one of my sites, and last year my cousin got me a keychain breathalyzer, which is pretty funny.
That is nice. Does it seem accurate?
Yes, it was, and I opened it. I think I was one of the only people drinking at Christmas. I opened it, and everyone's like, do it. I'm like, no, come on, guys. Like, do it. It was like 0.12 or something. And everyone started passing around, and everyone's getting 0.00.
Okay. Now the real question is, when you blew a 0.12, did everybody start randomly cheering? Like,
oh, yeah. Certainly.
That's dangerous. I don't think I could get that because I would be trying to set high scores. I'm a competitive guy. Let's see how high we get it.
That's what it turned into in the household.
Of course. That's the only reason to have it.
Yeah.
JP asked Puka, Waddle, or Pacheco. Pick one, and then Pacheco or Eckler. For sure, Pacheco. Eckler. Yeah, and this is the thing. So I think Waddle's the third out of those for me.
Certainly agree.
But Puka plays tomorrow, so you kind of have to make a decision on him. I think I'm rolling the dice on Pacheco.
Yeah, I don't want to make that decision, so I'm going to take Pacheco.
Trevor, agree?
Pacheco as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, the fallback plan of it being Waddle, I think is fine. Yeah. I don't think that's a bad play. That's why I'm willing to do that.
JP, I'm curious if you need to play one of those. The rest of your team must be pretty good.
Yeah, let us know your team. But it sounds like you probably have a decent shot. Let's go tight ends. And I'm sticking with Travis Kelce at 1. I think he has a good game. People are overreacting to Travis Kelce.
Yep.
He's been bad for Travis Kelce. Like, how many... Great as a tight end. He has, prior to last game, 3 straight games of 80-plus yards. And so let's just assume that means he gets 80-plus yards, right? There's no tight end that has a better shot to score a touchdown than Travis So if he has 80 yards and a tight end 1 or 2 this week. So 1, quit overreacting. I have Sam Laporta at 2, TJ Hawkinson at 3, competing against each other. I have Trey McBride at 4 at Chicago. And then I'm going David Njoku 5 at the Texans. Obviously, Joe Flacco has been thrown to him, and Njoku has refused to get tackled. Luke, what do you think of those 5 tight ends?
I was gonna say there's obviously a rapport there, right, with Njoku and Flacco, which is good to see as a Flacco fan. Laporta fucking awesome. Like I'll get on the soapbox here and say, that should just be the only reason you listen to the show is how many times we talked about Sam Laporta in the offseason for fantasy football. And so like I'm with Travis Kelce. I totally get don't feed into he's not Travis Kelce. Like you said, Zach, 80 yards. Really, he hasn't been getting a touchdown. He has been making big plays. He hasn't been making the Travis Kelce plays, but he's making the tight end plays. So I'm with it. Also, is Travis Kelce like one of the most? I'm not gonna say I don't think influential player is the right word, but like influential in regards to getting people to watch football.
He's up there.
Just solely from his relationship with Taylor Swift.
I mean, that's a big part of it now. I think even before, people just really like Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what like the demographic change has been this year in terms of like the female spike, because I think people are assuming it's bigger than what it probably was.
Sure, probably.
But I think there for sure is a new audience that tuned in to watch, Taylor Swift get shown in the box twice a game or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think we're overestimating what it is.
That's fair. You're probably right.
So question for you guys with Kelce, a lineup question for me. In the championship, my team's stacked Hurts, Kyron, Pollard, CD, Adams, Bijan, Evans. Who does Travis Kelce replace in that lineup?
I would say Bijan.
Probably. Can you repeat it one more time?
Sure. So I have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, and a wide receiver / tight end spot. So I got Kyron, Pollard, Lamb, Adams, Bijan, and Mike Evans.
Yeah, I would replace Bijan. I think that there's certainly a toss-up if Bijan will even be super useful this week, and I think Travis Kelce is for sure the safest player, maybe the second safest player in fantasy football. If you want to put him behind Christian McCaffrey, fine.
This would have been a lot easier if I took Tyreek Hill at the 4th overall pick, but hindsight's 2020.
Hey, you got a good team though.
Yeah. Kelsey's gonna be good this week. I can guarantee it.
I just got
Christmas Day game.
I just got very disappointed because the last guy in the league is cheap. So the buy-ins were $10. So if I win, I get 60. If I lose, I get 30. Not exactly a lot riding on this.
Better than nothing.
True.
That's a tank. Yes.
JP dropped his team. He's got Lamar, McCaffrey, Eckler, Pacheco, Jefferson, Diggs, Waddle, Puka, McBride, Waller, Likely, Browns, Bills, and Hopkins. Currently 7-7.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's a good team. Very good team.
Right, but won the first round, so 8-7. What should my team look like this week?
Well, you're doing Lamar. Probably McCaffrey and Pacheco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sitting Eckler. I assume you're starting Jefferson, Diggs.
Yep.
You got McBride. If there's a flex, you're probably going
what did we say?
Waddle or something.
Well, we said Pacheco for his flex, so he must be starting Eckler as the RB2.
And that's fine.
Would you start like a Waddle or Puka over Eckler?
I would.
Yeah, I'm probably going Waddle, I'm probably going Puka, but I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think Eckler's going to be fine.
Yeah. I guess this is under the assumption it's a 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, flex, and a tight end.
Right. And Eckler still he has to play. He's going to demand to play. Now the interim head coach is there, right? Yep. So the interim head coach is always super player friendly. What incentives do you have? Let's see if we can hit your incentives. We know Eckler just signed an extension this offseason, and that was only in incentives. So I don't know if he has a shot to hit any of them, but they're going to try to get him some extra money.
Also, like the easiest way to look good as an interim head coach is just give the ball to your best players. Don't get fancy.
Yeah. True. I mean, you could argue, I suppose it's the exact same offense because Kellen Moore is still there, but I think there is changes that take place.
I mean, just look at what the fuck, Antonio Pierce with the Raiders first game, and Josh Jacobs gets like 200 yards or whatever it was.
Yeah, just
to
simplified things.
To your point, Luke, if what's his name, Arthur Smith, ever got fired, and then the first game they gave Bichon 20 carries and Pitts 10 targets, he would be the best coach of all time.
Well, Pitts wouldn't get 10 targets,
Let's
but
say,
I understand the Bichon thing.
I'm rooting for that. Like we said, Zach, I'm an Arthur Smith guy. I'm rooting for, I guess at this point, for Arthur Smith to get fired before week 18, and then Bijan to get like 30 carries, Kyle Pitts to get 10 targets, just so that would make people so fucking mad.
It would make people very angry.
Yeah.
That would make me happy.
And the best part would be if they lose that game too.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
That would make me the most happy.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, and they lost. That'd be great. Other tight ends here. I think Cole Kmet has a pretty good week against the Cardinals. I have him at 9. I might move him up a little bit. Isaiah Likely has been good. I have him at 8. What are you gonna say?
Just about like I brought this question up maybe a couple weeks ago. Like, who is Sam Laporta number 1 tight end for Dynasty? Where does Cole Kmet fit in for Dynasty tight ends right now? It's got to be pretty 10. High.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, the question always is, where do you value Kelsey? How many years does he have left? I still think Kelsey's probably in the top 3 at the very least.
Yeah.
I think Kmet's like around that 7 to 10 rank.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly obvious, right, that like he is probably Justin Fields' number 1 guy. I don't know how much that means given what the Bears are going to do in the draft, but I think at this point, it's hard to get much better than Cole Kmet in Dynasty, in my opinion.
The thing is, the tight end position overall is pretty young.
Right.
Like, it's pretty young. It's pretty good. Like, TJ Hawkinson kind of is one of the older relevant tight ends, and he just got a second contract.
Yeah.
So he's like mid-20s. So these guys are going to be, it'll be fun in like 5 to 7 years, because once these guys are, at the top, the tight end position, you would think a lot of studs come in after them. There's just a surplus of talent at tight end.
Yeah.
I think these guys are going to be household names.
Like, it's not going to be like a Gronk, Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, like when all those Hall of Famers popping up, but hopefully we get something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how much longer Kelsey can go. But I mean, Laporta, Hawkinson are 2 obvious studs. Kittle's getting up there in age as well. Who knows how much longer he can go. But I mean, there's studs all over. Jake Ferguson, awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's the next guy who I think can get the push to be like a star.
Yeah,
is Jake Ferguson.
Is Hawkinson the ugliest player in the NFL?
No.
His hair does not help him.
Relax.
No.
Where did
TJ Hawkinson go to high school? Do we know that off anyone's top of their head? Or
high school? Yeah. No, I don't know. Okay. I'll look.
Yeah,
I don't
look
know.
that up real quick.
Okay, I'm interested to see
why.
26, by the way. That's wild. He went to Sheraton, Iowa.
Okay, so he's a Midwest guy. Midwest people, I think that's like you have to kind of quantify that differently in terms of beauty.
Sure. It's kind of like, offensive lineman too.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Like Midwest beauty is much different than West Coast beauty.
He's not like Jimmy Garoppolo, but like, fuck that guy. Like, who
Right.
cares about quarterbacks? All quarterbacks are gross. No one likes quarterbacks.
At least Hawkinson's on the field.
Yeah. He's a stud. How dare you? I don't like that. I don't like what you did here today. I stand with TJ Hawkinson. I think he's beautiful.
Maybe that should be our next rank in the offseason, is ranking tight ends based on attractiveness. Try to get that Taylor Swift crowd in here.
Now I just want to figure out who's uglier than TJ Hawkinson. Let me just look at running backs. There's some fucking fugly people. I mean, Derrick Henry.
Well, AJ Dillon.
True.
AJ
I think
Dillon
Jordan Love looks like a fucking douchebag. Like, I don't like.
They're weirdly apart. I don't like it. It's unsettling.
Let's see here. I'm James Conner's fine. In my mind, he was. What do you think Gus Edwards looks like? He's cool. He's cool. I don't know what he looks like, but Trey Sermon's uglier. I can guarantee it. I'm not even going to look.
Who's the third string guy for the 49ers? Him too. Davis Price, by far, got to be uglier than TJ Hawkinson.
And D lineman is kind of D tackles, especially kind of a prerequisite. Like you're not supposed to be a pretty boy at D tackle,
right?
So
it's like what's it? Tud. What's his last name? Tud Mock.
yeah.
Right there. Someone who's more Midwest beautiful than TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, he is definitely beautiful. We will not say anything else, especially when he takes his teeth out.
Yeah.
Iced tea or lemonade? Gotta be lemonade, right? How many charged lemonades have you had since last show, Luke?
I've been holding off because I know it'll be really bad on my body, but I was off of work today and I'm like, I need to go to Panera and get a charged lemonade. So I might go tomorrow morning before work.
Okay.
It's like it's like a nicotine craving.
That's awesome. I almost went this week, but I stopped myself.
You got it, man.
Do it. I just don't like Panera. Like I don't want to do it, but it sounds great.
You got to do it for the experience.
I might have to. I went to the Pearl for the first time this week.
Incredible.
Awesome. It was so good.
Yeah.
And I saw that cotton candy ice cream. I didn't do it.
Oh, fuck.
I saw it there. Like, they did buy one, get one cones. So had to go.
Going in the summer is great. You grab a cone and you go down by the river. It's nice. Sorry, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor.
No, you're good. I'm behind clearly. Let it be on the record. If I die by a Panera charged lemonade, make as many memes and as much money off it as you can. Yeah. Don't let my estate tell you jack shit. Keep that ball rolling.
Okay, we will. You're a little blurry, so we'll see if they believe it's actually you who said it. They'll probably say it's AI, but I'll stand by it.
I might try.
Left here anyway.
I might try charged lemonade with a shot of vodka soon.
I mean, that seems like the correct step to go.
Yeah.
I didn't have any caffeine today, and that sounds incredible. I really want that.
Yeah.
How big is their largest, would you say, compared to like other places? Is it a big one or?
Yeah, it's like a large you get anywhere.
Okay. It just seemed like a Panera thing that was like a large as a small somewhere else.
No, it's worth the money.
You know how during the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, they have that one guy, I don't remember his name, but that big black guy who just gulps the lemonade in like 2 seconds flat? We need to have a Panera charged lemonade drink off. Whoever drinks the most without passing out wins.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not worried about passing out. I think we'll die, but I'm not worried about passing out. It's a heart attack situation.
I believe his nickname is Badlands.
Badlands.
But I think like the answer to Randy's question is lemonade, but iced tea, I love iced tea.
Same.
Yeah.
Only if it's sweet.
Love Arnold Palmer.
Yep.
I agree. I like unsweetened as well. I still hate sweet tea, and we've had this conversation before. There's something about it. There's something about it. It tastes different than just sweetened. I think maybe it's too sweet. I don't know. There's something different about it. I just don't like it.
Yep.
I don't know. And I don't like it if you go to a place and they have unsweetened iced tea and they put sugar in it. That also tastes bad.
Correct.
It tastes like sweet tea to me.
Yep.
Don't like it.
Do you guys like hot tea?
Yeah.
No.
Garbage water.
No.
I don't really like hot drinks.
Hot
you
chocolate?
have said that.
Like hot chocolate's fine. I think hot chocolate is a very overrated drink. But yeah, I could do without it. I probably haven't had hot chocolate in 5 years.
Interesting. Maybe that after the season, that'll be a full feature-length video. We'll get you to try hot chocolate for the first time. It sounds like exciting content. We'll wrap it up here by comparing tight ends to the consensus. I am 3 higher on Cole Kmet at 9. I'm 4 higher on Dalton Schultz at 12. I'm 3 higher on Chikakonkwo at 19. 5 higher on Tanner Hudson at 20. If you were super desperate at tight ends, Tanner Hudson gets targets from Jake Browning. He's pretty solid, actually. I am 5 lower on Dallas Goedert at 15. I'm 4 lower on Pat Freiermuth at 21, and I'm 3 lower on Dawson Knox at 34. The final thing I'll say is if you feel like you're going to win this week, look ahead to next week, look for defenses, but also understand what player you're not going to play next week, and you can drop people. Like I said it last week. I said last week Terry McLaurin's droppable. I think I don't like him this week. Next week, I believe they play the 49ers. I don't like them then. Like, just look ahead and, there's certain players that if you know you're not going to play, if you think they're going to be bad, drop them so you can pick up handcuffs, but then maybe that also baits your opponent into playing them as well.
You're so right on that. And we had somebody who posted in Fantasy Football By Committee Facebook page, go in there and we answer questions and do a lot of good stuff in there. But saying, is Dallas's defense droppable? Dallas, I mean, first of all, it definitely is. There's no point in keeping somebody's defense. And next week, Denver plays New England. Or is that this week? No, that's this week. Denver plays New England.
Yep.
That's, in my opinion, the top 3 defense this week. So I don't care what Dallas has done for you. Who's going to win you the championship right now? You go for who you need and who's going to get you there. Bench means jack shit in the playoffs. It means, like, I have Deontay Johnson on my bench. I can just drop him right now if I want to. I don't lose anything by that.
Yeah. And Denver, by the way, one of the better defenses to own the rest of the way because they got New England this week. They play the Chargers next week. So definitely go pick them up. I got Denver stolen from me in our Dynasty League because the person competing for third place decided that they wanted to pick him up. Kevin, if you're watching.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah. Like, yes, they would have been my third defense on my team, but I would have started them. I would have used them.
Yeah, Kevin, you won 2 years in a row. Let it be. The 1 year you don't make the championship, man. Shameful.
Did he?
In the one we just started up where my team is trash, yes.
Luke, you won the other dynasty last year?
Yep. With Jerick McKinnon and Jawan Johnson, the powers that may be.
Yep.
And then he ran into a tough division this year and he couldn't make the playoffs.
Lost by fucking 7 points.
Don't even get me fucking started on divisions. Well, it wouldn't have mattered, Luke. You would have played me, but
Espinoza, I know you're watching this. I need to beat Espinoza in the dynasty startup. I need to beat him.
You cannot lose to a guy who, after the draft, who went, what the fuck just happened?
I need to beat him. It's a 2-week. His team's stacked. I think objectively his team's better, but I think my team has more grit. I think they have more heart. I think I'm going to get the boys ready to play. And, we'll see what happens on the field. We'll prove it on the field. But right now, I'm just saying, I can't lose to him.
Let me just say, Zach, I mean, it didn't matter because you won by a ton anyways, but when you went, I don't even need anything from Quentin Johnston, I'm going to win anyways, and then within like 20 minutes, you were projected to lose by 10. That was a wild time.
It was fine. We don't look at projections here. I think there's a question. There's a question about that earlier in the year. Someone asked me specifically, how much do you look at projections? And I said, I make the projections. So that's what I think. Like, who cares? Slayer, what's up, Baker or Goff? Great question. Let me look. Do you guys have any thoughts before I find my ranking?
Probably. I'm going to ride Jared Goff.
Okay. Trevor?
Nobody's ever said. I'm going to go with Baker and let us know what your favorite song is from FIFA 10. They had a good soundtrack, man. FIFA has good soundtracks back in the day.
This is a good question. I have them back to back. I have Baker at 9, Goff at 10. So obviously I like them both. But I guess I'm going Baker against Jacksonville, who has refused to play defense. So don't hate it.
And
I thought Trevor won a fantasy championship.
I did in my first year in Dynasty because I was given a stacked team and somebody had traded me the first overall pick for Josh Jacobs. So,
yeah, that team's stacked.
And
it's a shame you're going to have to run into me in the championship.
I might not get past Jake. His matchups are good. And that pisses me off. I can't lose in the semis to him.
My matchups on my team, if it's the team I'm thinking of, are dog shit.
It's bad. You might get hosed very quickly, but two Sundays. Fuck you.
I'm still starting Chris Godwin as my wide receiver 1. I'm debating, is Gabe Davis my wide receiver 2?
God, no.
He is. It's him, or it's Jerry Jeudy. I think I have to sit. I don't know. I still have Quentin Johnston. I kind of have to play him.
Ouch.
We're a ragtag bunch, but
Right.
we're gritty and we're here to play. George Kittle or James Conner to flex.
James Conner.
James Conner plays the Cardinals. George Kittle plays the Bears. George Kittle plays the Ravens. I think I'm going Conner. That's a good question.
Kyle Hamilton's awesome.
Yes. Stud. The prototype.
Kind of good at football. Who'd have thought?
I mean, just an athletic freak coming in. He just needed to get coached. I mean, he was just so raw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's figured it out. He's really good. Another player who played the Packers this past week who, I mean, I fucking begged the Packers to take him at the 5th or 6th round. Zion McCollum. He's the prototype too. Right. He is. Like, I'm confident in saying that he would not be any good if he was on the Packers, given the coaching. But boy, he is very good.
He was making plays his first year in the league too, and nobody was paying attention.
Like, I mean, I pitched him mostly just for special teams. Like, he would be the best gunner of all time. But like, he would be for sure. He would be the Packers' #1 corner if we could pluck him from the coaching he's gotten from the Buccaneers right now. I'm assuming, Jair not on the field. Jair's still better, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have him. I mean, welcome back Eric Stokes, though. He was in a lot of highlights last week.
Sure was.
Just not for our team. No one's talking about him. We need to talk about him. Next show, Lombardi sweep. Stick around. We'll be back in around 10 minutes to talk about the Packers' loss last week. Was it a surprise? Not really. And then we will preview the matchup against the Panthers this week, give our predictions, give you some fantasy plays, DFS plays, betting plays from that game. So we will see you in a second.